All right. I'm alive with Sagrada with the new expansion. Published by Floodgate Games and designed by Daryl Andrews and Adrian. I can never say your last name. I'm really sorry. Adamascu? Sorry, Adrian. Also, there's like a lot of UV on this, so it reflects our studio lights. But we are playing 2-player with the new expansion, which adds private dice pools. And I actually already got rid of the expansion box. I got rid of it at Gen Con because it was luggage space. So I don't have it to show. But we are playing with the 2-player, we're with the expansion, and we're going to be playing 2 players. So, and if you're curious, the expansion fits in the box perfectly. So let me adjust this camera, which got a little out of whack. It's also like really far that way for some reason. What is the camera settings? Ah, because it's zoomed in still. Nope, wrong way. Let's just mess with all the settings. Let's just do that. That seems like a worst idea. Much profession. Such wow. We'll do that. Sure. Okay. So Steve is checking on some dogs and stuff. But I wanted to show that the expansion fits perfectly in the box. So the expansion comes with enough stuff to add 2 additional players. So the game can go up to 6 players with the expansion. And it adds these private dice pool boards, which are little circles, and they match the new player boards, and they're kind of trippy because they have like the punch outs in them. And then it comes with additional dice, so you can play with more players, which we're not going to put in because we're playing with just 2 players, so we don't need to do that. That's why they're on the side. It also comes with some new private objective cards. Oh, and the new player score cards, score tokens. Comes with new private objective cards, which focus on locations of where you're playing stuff, not just the colors, which is very interesting. It adds a new level, and I think Steve and I are just gonna make sure I like mix those, and now I'm like, no, let's make sure we play with those this game. So we're gonna make sure that we have private objectives from that. And then it also adds some new tool cards, and it specifically adds tool cards for the support of the private dice pool. And the rules say if you are playing with the private dice pool, there's a couple tool cards that you actually need to take out, and we'll talk about that when we do the rules. And then it adds some more like public objective cards, which are for everybody to go stuff. So it adds, I actually can't remember which ones it adds, but I know it adds some. So there's that. So I'm gonna mix up these. And all of those words only have meaning if you actually are familiar with Sagrada. So, in addition to adding that, it adds some more of the crystal tokens, which are in here. And the expansion ones are a little smaller. They're a different size, but it's fine. And then it adds a dice tray. And if you have the Kickstarter edition of Sagrada, you'd already have this dice tray, or a dice tray. I don't know if it's the same. But the expansion actually gives you a dice tray, which Steve and I were very happy with. Oh, it says right here, 5 to 6 player expansion. So, Steve and I were very happy to get the dice tray because we didn't get one because we didn't have the Kickstarter edition. And they'd offered to send us one, but I like that we got one this way. So yeah, so if you're playing with the expansion. So now all of the player boards, so pretty, still fit in the base box. And then you also get new stained glass window cards. So we have promo ones in here. So you might see some of those, but the expansion ones have little dice in the corner. So there's new ones, and the expansion ones add, and the promo ones, they have the potential of adding a difficulty level of 6, because the difficulty level of the windows is, of course, the number of white dots in the corner. So the expansion adds level 6 difficulty ones. So that is what the expansion adds, and how it all fits in the base box, which was a kind of a big buying point for me. So we got the expansion because we love Sagrada. I'm super interested in I was super interested. I've now played them, so it's past tense, but in the private dice pools, I think those is a cool idea. And then I also liked that it would go to 5 and 6 players. So, Steve's back. How's your foot?
It's fine.
The YouTube future doesn't know about the story, but the Twitch chat knows about the
Twitch
story.
chat?
Yeah.
One of my toenails is bent, so a bit.
Is it bent and bloody, or is it just bent?
Like bent, but not to the point that it's...
You're just gonna gripe about it for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. Alright, so we actually don't need all of this stuff, so we're gonna pick some of it. I get the orange one, which is new, and then Steve gets to pick the color that he wants.
The color of oxidized blood, as opposed to unoxidized.
Okay, then. How you really feeling, Steve? So if you haven't played Sagrada before, we're just gonna teach kind of like all of it. The expansion adds some differences in setup and in the rules, but the base setup is kind of the same. So I'm gonna deal 2 of these cards to each of us, and then you didn't get you did get an expansion and a promo
and an expansion tile.
I think I didn't get either, which I don't want, so I'm gonna give myself that expansion one instead.
Ooh. That's the
Board Game Geek one. Yeah, which you can get at Board Game Geek store. Or at one of the shows. So, before we pick one of these, we actually get our private objectives. And we're going to play with the shape ones. So this is yours. I'm stacking them so we don't have the color ones. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Ooh. See, that changes what I pick on this by a lot. I gotta take this one. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna take this one, and then the ones that we don't take, so the ones we take, we slot into the bottom of our board, which makes it cool. And then the ones we don't take, we're gonna put here. And then once Steve picks one, we'll put it in the thing. Cool. And then we can put all these back. Boosh. And we don't need most of this. So we're going to be playing with the dice pools. So we can take the tool cards out. The number 7 and the number 8 tool cards. They're numbered right there. You can take those out. You must take those out if you're playing with the dice pool expansion. And then you still put 3 of these out like normal. So I'll do that. Put those away. And then you still do 3 of these like normal. So we'll say these 3, and that's going to go away. And then we'll need these, but not for a bit. Let's just do that. The glare is strong.
Yeah, Kabuki, I did do a bit of a Rube Goldberg. I think the chair tripped me, and I hit the studio light, and then the studio light hit the camera, and then the camera hit the microphone.
Oh, and this camera.
Yeah, and that camera.
Yeah.
Is that
how many gems?
6 if you include me. I get 6.
You're a gem?
I get 1 gem for everything I knocked over.
So you get 6 gems or 5 gems? Because you said if you include me. So you get
if
6
you include
gems.
me, it's 6 gems, yeah.
So you're worth 0 gems? Is what you're saying?
No, if you include me as one of the things that was knocked over.
Oh, you're not giving 6
6 things got knocked over.
I thought you were saying you get 6 gems because you're a gem.
No.
I thought you were trying to make something. You were trying to say something about yourself being a gem. Which, I was going to agree with, but then I was like, wait, you get 6 gems including yourself, but that would mean that you're worth 0 gems, which isn't accurate at all. Okay, then each player is going to get one of the dice pools. It doesn't need to match the player color, but it's just cooler if it does. So do that. And then...
Well, they do also line up exactly with the art.
They don't.
They do.
No, they don't. They're off by like a tiny amount, which is what upset Kimberly so much.
Oh, well, no, you just need to rotate them.
No, they're like just off. Like it's like just off. Anyway, so you can have it to the side or you can have it on your board. We're gonna have them there. I feel like I need to like, this camera is off. It got knocked, so it's not perfect anymore, which upsets me. Okay, so what we're gonna do is when you do the private pool, you actually remove dice from the game. So, can you go away? So the setup gets kind of fiddly. So, we actually need to make sure in a 2-player game, there are 6 of each color. So, in the bag. You got purple?
And red.
Okay, well, I just did red too. Put red back.
My red's better.
Okay, well, I get green. Jerk. Okay, is that all the colors? There should be 60 total.
There's at least 5 colors.
Wait. 6 of each color for 30 total.
Yeah.
6 times
5.
5.
It's 30.
I think this was one of mine. Okay.
I don't think there was. It's fine. Whatever. There might be 31. It's okay.
We'll find out. Do you want to recount? It was not. Yeah. Damn it. Okay.
That's right. I pay for the initial recount, but then if I was right, then you have to pay me back.
Yep. Okay. Then each player is going to take 2 of each color die and put on your private die after you roll them. So you're going to take 2 of each color. So you should have 10 dice.
I'm going to take the ones with the high values.
Yeah, you're going to reroll them. Oh, sorry. See, and then you have like these extra dice that you have to put someplace.
Like up my sleeve.
Alright. Okay, so then you roll all of your dice and you put them in your private dice pool. So I'm gonna wait for Steve.
Oh, 2 blue ones.
I'm gonna wait for Steve.
2 blue ones. I'm excited. Don't we roll our dice and then pick our stuff or no?
No.
Was that part of the sequence?
Nope.
Then you could pick your thing based on
Game setup is identical. And then you do this. So then you put your private dice away. Why did you put them in the wrong order?
What? Why is that the wrong order?
Well, because because yellow plus blue equals green, and purple is red plus blue, and I can't help this. This is the best I could do.
Because there's no orange.
This is too busy. Oh my goodness, I just can't even.
Here,
Okay.
I'm gonna move these dice, which may change their values, but it's fine.
Okay, there. Okay, little better. All right, so we're gonna have the dice tray. Then we have our bags. Then we have our gemstones. Then we have our private objectives, then we have the tool cards, then we have the public objectives. So, our public objectives are to do column shade variety, column color variety, that'll be tricky, and row shade variety. So we want variety everywhere. We're playing Sudoku. Then we don't have a new expansion one. I don't want that. I'm just gonna, like, manually add an expansion one. There, we'll add that one. Which is hard to say without sounding rude. So we are going to have the lead came clip nippers. The lead came nippers. It's a thing. I don't know. The Lathican and the flux brush. So this one is we can move exactly 2 dice, obeying all placement restrictions. This one is, we roll up to 2 dice in our private pool. Almost. We re-roll up to 2 dice in our private pool, and then those, after drafting, re-roll the drafted die. If it can't be passed, return to the drive.
And we can use 1 die per thingy.
Yes. Okay, so, rules. So, on your turn, so if you're familiar with the base game, you're going to pretty much know what's going to happen, but there's no snake drafting anymore. So, you're going to, whoever is the starting player is going to draw 3 dice out of the bag, and they're going to roll them. Will either of you be coming to Dragonflight or PAX West? I do not believe so, no. Sorry, Lackey.
Which one is Dragonflight?
I don't even know what weekend.
It sounds familiar.
It's Tony went to it last year. It's someplace. So we're going to draw dice equal to the player count plus 1. So we draw 3 dice for a 2-player game.
Oh, wow, really? Only 2?
Yeah. Or 3.
3, yeah.
A 4-player game would, a 3-player game would be 4 dice. A 4-player game would be 5 dice. A 5-player game would be 6 dice, and a 6-player game would be 7 dice. And you would have enough dice for that.
So we're drafting one die around, I guess.
You played this last night. How do you not remember this?
No, I just like it's one die around from our pool and one die.
So, on your turn, there's no stake drafting. On your turn, you may take 0 to 3 actions. So the first thing that you can do, optionally, on your turn, is you can select one of the dice from the common dice draft pool. So there you go. So, I'm just going to start the game off. These are awful for me. Dang it. Great. I will take this purple 6, which was this purple 6, and I'm going to put it right there. And then, also on my turn, I can take one of my private pool dice and add it to my board. And when I add dice to my board, for the first die that you add, it of course needs to be on one of your edges, and then from the future there out, you must place a die adjacent to a die you've already placed, and diagonal, it can be diagonal or orthogonally adjacent. So I will place this green 4 right there, and then if I want on my turn, I can use one of these tools via the normal tool thing. So I think I'm good, actually. I won't reroll. I won't use any of these. So that would be my turn. And I could have done those 3 things in any order. So I could have done a tool first. I could have drafted from here second and then taken this one last. Or I could have taken this first, done this, and then this. It's any order you want. And you can do each of the 3 possible things once each turn. And now it would be Steve's turn to draft.
I'll do yellow 4.
Cool.
And then I'll do a blue 1 from the pool.
Would you like to use one of the tools?
I did not.
Okay. So now this die goes here. It's our round counter. And now Steve is the starting player. So he would select 3 dice to draw.
Right,
Or
so
he would draw 3 dice and roll them. And then he starts.
I look in the bag and then
Nope.
that's a different game. Hope you like purple.
Also, I just wanted to say thank you, Floodgate Games, for sponsoring this stream. They provided the copy of the expansion for us to stream on camera. So, thank you very much. We've played it 4-player. 3-player? 4-player. 3-player. We've played it 3-player, and now we will have played it 2-player. And I'm excited to play it. I'm excited to play Sagrada at any player count, because you can play 6 players now without the player dice thing if you want, which excites me a lot. So, because we can take this to Colorado with us and play with my family, which makes me very happy. Because we have 5 players usually on a game night with my family. So, yeah. Somebody was saying that they had PAX tickets, and I was debating going up to PAX, but I would probably only go if I could do it for free.
Your turn.
So, yeah. Wow. Thanks for nothing. Take this 4 red. So this is an interesting thing. The number of rounds in the game is the same. And if you want to complete your stained glass window, you have to select dice from every round. But you don't you don't actually have to. So you could decide to lose points by not drafting. Which is interesting. Because previously you would only be able to do that if you couldn't take a die. I will do this. Okay.
Round 3.
Oh, interesting. Lackey did not enjoy Sagrada at 2 with just the base game.
I liked the snake draft, but
Yeah,
the
me
snake
too.
draft could definitely throw the game. So I wonder if it was because of the drafting, or maybe because of something else.
Okay, I will do the
Maybe like the
yellow
draft maybe wasn't very interesting. I don't know. I wonder.
one there. And then I will do a blue 5 there. And I do not wish to place a tool. Use a tool. I still liked it 2-player because I feel like there's a lot. Steve and I focus a lot on what we're doing on our own. And we can hate draft, but we don't typically look beyond our boards very much in like larger player account games because you're so focused on the dice. Whereas in a 2-player game, we can focus more. We're stressing less about like the dice because our options are so limited anyway. That we can focus more on what each other's doing, so we can focus more on messing with each other.
Okay.
Cool. You start. The private dice pool adds a very interesting mechanic of, like, when do you use what? Like, I'm planning to use a thing here, so do I do it? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I should place 2 dice every round, but maybe I'm forced to place a die I didn't want to play just yet, or something like that, so.
I have to be careful not to cheat.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying so carefully to do these, which intersect in a very interesting way that
I
I
very
not to accidentally cheat.
Screwed myself on that row. How much do you like in auction games? I don't actually typically like auction games. If the primary mechanic of the game is auctioning, I don't really care for it. But if it's like a smaller mechanic that's inside of it, it's fine for me. I see you're playing by normal rules, not hard mode. For years, when I taught this game, I taught that you could only place dice adjacent orthogonally. But it turns out you can place them diagonally or orthogonally, so it was just hard mode. I just was teaching people and playing in hard mode. I don't care about that, so I'm gonna do. Oh, that sucks for me. Dang it!
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled about the dice pool the first time we played, but this time I'm planning how to use my dice pool to do these. So that does give me a little more control over round to round, although my initial thing was, why can't we just be playing regular Sagrada? So,
which is still, yeah. Yep. Sorry, I just...
And also, because our objective cards here don't...
They're so different.
Did you show
I'm not
yours?
looking. No, I didn't.
Okay.
I'm not looking.
So normally in Sagrada, it's a color, but mine is actually some of the dice values and the shape. So I'm like...
And what you pick for your card is like way more involved.
Oh, yeah.
For that.
So the fact that I got to look at this and then choose the card, I was able to choose one that worked for that.
Well, and I think you get more points if you can do by color, because you could like make your board go crazy with colors. Whereas when you're limited to just like the locations that they tell you, you can't. You're restricted a lot more. So, for example, I picked a card that restricts most of my locations, which sucks for me.
Kabuki asks if you, which I guess is either us or the chat, feel a collection can have both Sagrada and Role Player. That one is interesting because now we have played both Sagrada and Role Player, both vanilla and with the expansions.
Yeah. Role Player is way more math based. I still technically am going, but you could go.
But yeah, Role Player is about can I hit the sum that I need with the dice that I'm drafting, and this one is more spatial.
Yeah, it's way more spatial.
I would like to play Role Player more. I find that I would say you probably could have both in the collection in the sense that this plays quickly, especially with the low player count, and Role Player is more involved and has a lot more variability in terms of all the cards in the drafting and with the expansion, like the enemies. So it's interesting. There's a lot more going on in this. I feel is maybe perhaps a little tighter. I'm still placing.
That's fine. I feel like the Role Player expansion, I wouldn't play Role Player again without the expansion, but I'm not super interested in owning Role Player. I understand why Steve would like it, 100%, because it's basically what Steve does in a lot of his solo games. It's you. He like min-maxes And that's the role player is min-max the game.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll just min-max in a multiplayer game and just not, like, choose not to care.
Yeah, it's very AP-inducing, and he is the king of AP. So, I am not... I want to play role player again. I'm not interested in owning it. So there's that. We have a friend who owns it, and they would loan it to us or let us play it, or we could play it with them at any time. So, there's that. I like the simplicity of this. I like the accessibility of this. This is a lot more accessible for the kinds of crowds that we roll in. If we played like a ton with role players, I feel like role player would make more sense for them. But yeah. I'm gonna do that one. Ooh, I should do that there. Oh, no, I should do that there. And then it doesn't matter. Anyway. So I'll put this one. Oh, shite. Okay, well, I'm not gonna have a perfect row shade score anyway. Do that there. Cool. Cool.
So it's you.
Towards me. Good night, mediocre gamer.
Good night, mediocre gamer.
Mediocre.
Mediocre.
Like a yoke. I just got that. I literally just got... Yeah.
Oh, mediocre.
Yeah. Dice? Why? Why do you do this to me? I don't want any of you. Cool. Awesome. And by that I mean awful. I am going to... Bleh. Okay. I will place this one here, and then I'm going to put this one here. Anyway you want it, that's the way. I'm so screwed. Okay. Great. It's Steve's turn. Steve, start.
There's a lot of dice left.
I have screwed myself thoroughly. Yep. I need 2 5s, and there's no 5s. Nope. Yellow next to yellow. Cool. I'm gonna use a tool. I'm gonna use the lead cam nippers. That's not what I need to pick up. And I'm gonna re-roll these 2. Not what I needed at all. Dang it. Why? Alright, I'm gonna take this green die, and I will use the flux brush.
I thought you can only use one tool over.
Oh, you're right, I can't! Dang it! Do you remember what this number was?
It was a 4.
It was a 4. You're right. You're right. I cheated. I'm sorry. Don't touch me.
Is it superseded in the expansion?
What?
Is that rule superseded in the expansion? Probably
no,
not.
It's here. It's still there. You can only use a tool once a turn. So I am host. Neither hosen. So awful. I'll do that. So awful. And then just ruin all my chances of anything. I'll do that instead. Great. Okay. Ah.
And you first.
Yep.
You have a cool pattern going on.
It's entirely accidental. It depends on who you're asking in regards to Sagrada. Because I know how Daryl feels about it. And I know how Ben feels about it. But I don't know how Adrian feels about it. So there's that. Alright. This is gross. Gosh. Reroll the red one. I needed you to be a 5. That is not a 5.
You can't use a tool more than, like, you can't just keep going.
No, because you can use tools once a turn. So I really needed that to be a 5, and it is not a 5. I should have rerolled that. I should have done that instead. So I can't place either of these dice in these spots. So that sucks.
You can, oh.
So I'm done. It's Steve's turn.
I'll take this green too.
I'm gonna have holes. I'm gonna have holes in my board.
And then I'm gonna do this red too.
I foolishly filled
Last 3 dice.
none of those are 5s. I rage quit. Mwah. Oh, Tony and Christy landed tonight? Or is that tomorrow? I just got a calendar notification.
For the move all dice, can you swap dice? Probably not.
No. No, it's a different card. I'm gonna do that, so my holes are a little bit... they're still not super obvious, but it's that, and that. You done? But you could move, and then you could fill from this round into spots. So you could do that. Now there's just beautiful symmetry going on with our boards. And the ape sets in. Come on.
I think I do this.
Mm-hmm. Kabuki was gonna play Nemo's War tonight, but we did too many bonus strains. It's true, it's a problem. We're trying to get through all of our Gen Con games. We have a lot. Gen Con / Origins. King Domino is actually Origins. Right? Lady and the Tiger was Origins. King Domino, I think, was either Origins or right... It was maybe right between Gen Con and Origins. Tuesday, we're going to be playing Carthago, I believe. And Thursday next week, we're going to be doing a Target exclusive stream, not sponsored by Target, where we play games that are from Target, that are Target exclusives this year. So there's a lot of them. We're not going to play all of them. We're going to play 3 of them that are pretty decent. So, yeah.
Okay, I think this works. This one goes here. Mm-hmm. This one goes here. Mm-hmm. And this one goes here.
Okay.
And then, I guess it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter what you say.
That goes there. So I lost one of the... I lost this column shade variety.
Wow, your life is hard. Yeah. Okay, I get that one. And I'm going to spend 2 points to re-roll my last 2 ones. I just need the yellow one to be a 5. It's a 6. Okay, so I can't place either of those. And my game is done. So, that's the round. So, that's the game. So then, we do my favorite thing, where we take this and we flip it, and there's the scoreboard!
It is probably one of the cooler. It's a very cool thing.
So we take the Steve tile, and we take the me tile. Okay, so, first off, score objectives. So my objective was fences.
Interesting.
And I did not do well. So I got 10 plus 6 plus 2.
18? Not bad.
Well, no. Yeah, so 18.
And I got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And 14 and 7 is 21. That's the 50 side. That is
yeah.
the 50 side.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I lose 2 points because I don't have a pretty perfect window. And then we do the things. So, this one doesn't count for column shade variety because it's not complete. Same with this one. This one I did it. This one I did it. This one I did not. But I did get column color variety on the 3 that I had finished. So I get 8 points for that, plus another 15 points for the 3 columns I've done. I don't remember what that was, but it was a 1 because that was what it's supposed to be. So I get 15 plus 8, so I get 23 points from that. So 19.
Oh, because you got
39. So I got these 2.
Yeah. And
then I got these 3. And then for row shade, I got 1 row because I didn't finish the other ones. So I just get another 5 points. So I'm at 44. And then I have 2 gemstones left. So I get 2 points, and that's my score. Okay. Kairos, what'd you do? How'd you do? How'd you
So column shade variety. So this column, 5, 6, 1, 4. This column I did not do 4, 5, 2, 5. This one I did do 2, 1, 6, 3, and this one I did do 1, 4, 3, 6. So that is 16 points. So 16 and 21 is 37.
Oh, I win!
Then this one, column color variety, I did this one, this... Oh! I didn't do this one. I messed that one up. So I did this one, this one, this one, and this one. So again, 4, so I get 20 points. So 20 and 37 is 57. And then this last one, row shade.
You throw in shade?
Mm-hmm. Those are unique.
Mm-hmm.
Those are unique. Those are unique. And those are unique. So...
He gets another 20 points.
20 points.
So he's at 77. You know what? I'm just going to say this right now. These are like the same scores that we had in King Domino. So I get the reverse. So I get 46 points, and Steve wins with 77 points. So there you go.
Oh, that's my best score that you've logged. I mean, I think the expansion really helps you, plan for those.
I
Almost a
did
little
not
too much. I wasn't
well at that.
So what's interesting, one thing I like, just to jump into it, one thing that I like about regular Sagrada is that you are focusing on the draft, and I like focusing on the snake draft and seeing what the other person's doing. And in this one, it's almost better to plan ahead and care more about your private dice pool. Like, I was kind of caring about the draft dice, and like, okay, which thing will I draft this round that I can pair with something from my private dice pool? Another thing that I noticed is you are trying to expand from where you start to places that you'll be able to use the dice from your pool. So a strategy that I think I don't normally do in regular Sagrada is I was building in such a way that I had access to as many squares as possible so that I could place private dice.
Yeah, and that's not how I play usually either. It's very smart.
Because usually I just like build out from where I'm drafting. So it feels more strategic, but then also you care less about your other player. Well, one of our theories about the 5 to 6 player expansion is that maybe the snake draft was unwieldy with 5 or 6 players. So potentially, they wanted to add the dice pool of a way to make it more strategic and less random at the higher player counts.
Yeah, I think there would be a lot more downtime at that player count. Yeah, for sure. And so this allows you to think about stuff when it is your downtime.
Yeah.
So it's a bonus.
Maybe. I know occasionally we flub the direction of the snake draft because everybody's focusing on their window. Like you flub the direction or whose is it. And so the fact that maybe at a larger player count especially, it's just going around once is maybe easier to keep track of.
Yeah, you don't have to come back.
So I think second play, I'm liking the private dice pool a little bit more than the first one. The first one I was just kind of thrown off. I didn't know what to expect. And I guess this is a modular expansion, right? So you could play with just the new cards. You could play with the private dice pool, or maybe not, I think.
Yeah.
I bet you could probably just play regular Sagrada with the regular rules, just with the extra dice, which I'm sure is what some people really want to do.
For the higher player counts, yes, you can do that. I'm going to put it back in the box on camera. So, you're being helpful. Stop being helpful. Stop being helpful. Take your player card out. So, player cards, and then all of the player chapels, windows. Thank you.
I said don't be helpful.
Yeah, I know, and then you stopped. It was very helpful. And then you put the dice box down here, and you can put it on top, but I put it here. And then you put the gemstones, and then you put the dice, and then you put score tokens. The player thingies fit like exactly, and then you put that there, and then you have the rule books, and that is how you put Sagrada in the box with the expansion.
Boom.
Baboosh. So yeah, that is Sagrada with the expansion. Baboosh. Cool. Yeah. So thank you again, Floodgate Games, for sponsoring this stream by providing us with the expansion for Sagrada that adds the 5 and 6 player boards and also the private dice pool. I like it. I don't know what else to add to it that we haven't already had.
I think we haven't played it at the higher player count that it expands to, so I can't evaluate how it would play either with or without the expansion at 5 or 6 players.
But I feel like I would play with the private dice pool at higher player counts with people who've played before. So like if we were at a con and we had 6 people and we were like, I don't know what you want to play. I don't know what you want to play. I don't know. Let's play something. Sagrada is a great game to play in those situations at like the 4 to 2 player count because you can talk a lot. And I actually don't mind at 4 players that the snake draft might take a long time because you can sit and talk in the downtime because you can't do anything really when you don't have the dice. But the private dice pool expansion fixes that, where you can sit and focus on your private dice pool and think about what you want to do when you want to do it, which I think makes sense. What we were talking about, what Steve was talking about the theory of they added that at the higher player count to help reduce the longevity of the the downtime, and like also the weirdness of snake drafting at a higher player count,
and maybe just the randomness of like getting screwed with the last pick or whatever.
Yeah,
after 5 people before you could have hate drafted the die you wanted. So
yeah, so there's that. I feel like it also adds a little bit more luck. So, like, if your dice pool isn't great rolls or won't work really well for what you're going for, or, like, it's more to mitigate and it's more to plan, which I feel makes it more strategic. And so I would play with the private dice pools at higher player counts with people who are really familiar with Sagrada. I think I would pull that out, like, no props. But, like, if we were taking Sagrada to play with my family, we probably wouldn't add the private dice pools the first time they played unless we were playing with, like, 6 people. So there was that. I don't know if I would play with that many players that hadn't played before. So I think it makes sense. If you're playing with a lot of players, unless they're hardcore gamers, I would maybe not, for their first game, jump in with the expansion. But if you are hardcore gamers and it's their first time playing Sagrada, and you have a higher player count, sure, add the expansion. I think it'll make a much better experience overall. But if they're casual gamers, maybe play with a lower player count for the first game without the expansion. Or maybe just don't play Sagrada at a higher player count for casuals if you're worried about the downtime.
Yeah.
So
one thing I was wondering was there a rule that you should use this number of expansion tools and a number of non-expansion tools, or is that you just doing the setup?
That was me just doing the setup.
Because one thing I would say is maybe as a house rule, if you're worried about the luck factor in the private dice pool, you could just always use one of the expansion tools that lets you manipulate it. Like, just as a house rule. Like, you could just always have the one we had, which is re-roll 2 dice in your pool, or maybe there's one that's, like, manipulate.
Yeah.
So that could be a way of just, like, you want the private dice pools, but just use one of those tools as a house rule or something, if you want.
So there's that. Kabuki Kid asked what we feel the optimal player count is. I've played base Sagrada at every player count, and I enjoy it at every player count. I mean, if Steve and I are going to play a 2-player drafting game like that, I don't know. I don't know if we'd reach for Sagrada just because, but we've definitely just played Sagrada to play Sagrada because it's beautiful and we just want to sit and dice draft and make little pretty windows. So there's that.
Especially in, like, a con setting or, like, playing with people who maybe don't know the game, Sagrada, the regular Sagrada game is easy to, like, pull out and teach as long as, someone's keeping on top of the snake draft when you have people that haven't played before or whatever. But it is a nice game to just sit and chat with people. Like, there is a bit of downtime, but it's not... Turns are just people picking dice, so there isn't, like... Downtime isn't the same issues it might be in a game that has, like, a very extensive turn sequence.
Unless you're playing with 4 Steves.
I wouldn't recommend that. But I like it as a game where it's relatively easy to teach and you can sort of socialize while playing it at that, like, 4-player count.
Yeah.
Without the expansion.
Yeah, so and I feel... I can see playing at 5 players, no props. 6 players, I might have some hesitance. Unless we're playing with the private dice pool thing. Just because I think 6 players might take a